This video is sponsored by Disney Collect by Topps, which brings collectible card trading into the world of Disney. And now it's easier than ever to get started with the Wish feature, where you can spin and win a few extra cards and coins every day to then begin to build your very own collection. So download the free app for iOS and Android today with the link in the description box below. Hi there Waltoneers, I'm Jack and this is DSNY Newscast. And although the Disney Parks presentation on Sunday was underwhelming in terms of Walt Disney World announcements, for once there was actually plenty to talk about for Disneyland. So let's begin with what is easily the biggest news to come out of D23 Expo for an actually confirmed attraction project. And that is of course the announcement of an Avengers e-ticket attraction coming to Avengers Campus at Disneyland Resort. And trust me, you're not having deja vu right now, as it was 3 years ago at D23 Expo in 2019 that we received the exact same news coming out of the expo. But the difference between now and then is the type of ride system that this attraction experience is going to deliver. As you see, when it was originally announced in 2019, the attraction had been described as allowing guests to step on board a Quinjet and fly alongside the Avengers in an epic adventure to Wakanda and beyond, whilst teaming up alongside the Avengers in a battle to save the world against one of the most powerful villains they have ever faced. And it was also touted at the time as having an innovative ride system, which then later in October 2019, it was stated at New York Comic Con by Imagineers working on the project that the ride experience would utilize both a group experience to begin with and then provide for individual flight as well. And so, as I previously speculated, and from what we could see from the artwork that was not formally released but shown on stage, we would enter the Avengers HQ building. Then the interior queue would wind itself throughout the Quinjet hangar bay before then boarding the Quinjet and being seated in a traditional simulator style of attraction formation, which is depicted here within this concept art. And then only moments into this experience, the safety and protection of the Quinjet would fall away, as we would either lift into the air through the roof or we would drop out the bottom of the Quinjet, transforming the ride experience into what Imagineering has called individual flight, as this would have been programmed so that we would move in our individual jetpacks but not have control over them within a massive projection dome screen where the action will be taking place. Now at the time there was much speculation over what exactly this ride system would look like for this experience, with some believing it to be just a clone of Flight of Passage. However, considering Disney stated that Imagineering were working on an all-new innovative ride system, it was most likely to be a proprietary technology that would resemble elements of the KUKA arm technology that we've seen over at Universal, and is perhaps what we were seeing tested here in this Walt Disney Imagineering promo from 2019. But it now seems that it wasn't just relating to budgetary limitations, but in actual fact it might have also had something to do with Imagineering not being able to get the ride system to perform to their requirements in terms of efficiency, stability and capacity. And this was corroborated by Josh D'Amaro on stage, as he stated that Imagineering has gone back to the drawing board for this Avengers ride. And so what can we expect from these revised plans for this Avengers concept? And to begin with, this attraction is going to exist within the multiverse, meaning that it now unshackles Imagineering from any timeline contradictions, so that any and all characters from wherever and whenever in the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe can now appear within this ride. And because of that, as you would expect, this is going to be a media-heavy screen-based attraction, as that is the only feasible way of implementing the sheer quantity of superheroes that are planned to appear in this ride. But with this being within the multiverse, it also gives Marvel and Imagineering the opportunity to introduce another multiverse variant of Thanos, called King Thanos, who's a version of the same character, where in this timeline he succeeded in his plan to provide balance to the universe after the events of Avengers Infinity War. Now, despite details of this ride system being scarce at the moment, judging by the artwork that's been released, we can see that the individual flight jetpack idea has been replaced with a more traditional 12-seated ride vehicle to help increase throughput capacity. And although admittedly it does look similar to the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man or the Transformers ride at Universal Studios, what's interesting is the questions that this artwork does not answer, as it's possible that this might not be a ground floor level attraction like Transformers, but instead it may share the same ride system rumoured for the Peter Pan attraction at Tokyo Disney Sea's Fantasy Springs, as we saw a model for that ride vehicle at the Expo Pavilion, and it also had 3 rows of 4 seats within a pirate ship galleon, which we know from the description of that Peter Pan ride that we will be lifted into the air and fly through Neverland with the use of screen-based media, and so perhaps we will still be boarding a Quinjet. However, in place of the individual flight component, we will continue within the fixed parameters and formation of the Quinjet instead. However, having said all of that for today, I'll be sure to come back and give more details as and when they're revealed in the future as an update on this attraction. But sticking with Avengers Campus, we also had some big news. Quite literally, as we received a first look at what looks to be at least a 15-foot tall Hulk character that will be available as a meet and greet walk-around character within the land for a limited time. And this Hulk character is extremely impressive, with its implementation of WDI's Project Exo for the exoskeleton stilt walking puppetry. And this has all been made possible through advancements made with 3D printing lattice structures and the redistribution of the weight on the apparatus to the ground with pneumatic assistance at the joints, making the rigging of the suit light enough to be mobile, and yet it also accentuates the movements of the performer. But surely once this character debuts, it's only a matter of time before we also see this approach used for Thanos and maybe even a Wampa within Galaxy's Edge as well. And speaking of Galaxy's Edge, we also got our first glimpse at the Mandalorian and Grogu, who will be making their in-park character debut around Black Spire Outpost at Disneyland in mid-November. But that's not all for the Disneyland news from D23 Expo, as it was a bit of a surprise that it was also announced that the Pacific Wharf at Disney California Adventure is going to be reimagined to San Francisco from Big Hero 6. And this does look to be a relatively straightforward and simple retheme of Pacific Wharf to then accommodate a meet and greet location for Baymax and add new spots for eating and shopping. Then in addition to that, we received more artwork for the queue of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway that's opening next year that features the Toontown Hysterical Society, as of course, given its location within Mickey's Toontown, this attraction is going to have to be different in very specific ways to the attraction that has already opened at Walt Disney World. And then lastly, it was also announced that Disney is planning to make Disneyland the focal point of the Disney 100 celebration next year, with the resort to receive special decorations, new entertainment pop-ups, and the long-awaited return of the Magic Happens Parade in the spring of 2023. And in addition to that, there will also be the debut of 2 new nighttime spectaculars, with the first being called Wondrous Journeys, that will pay tribute to all 60 animated features throughout the history of the Walt Disney Company, accompanied by a new song titled It's Wondrous. And then secondly, there will be World of Color 1, which will focus on the broader storytelling legacy of Disney's first 100 years, but of course as we get closer to the beginning of the celebrations, we are sure to find out more about how Disney 100 is to be celebrated at other resorts around the world, so stay tuned for all of that. But now it's over to you, Waltoners. I would like to know, what are your thoughts and opinions about this revised version of the Avengers ride that's going to be coming to Avengers Campus at Disneyland, and also in which way would you improve it if you could add a new multiverse attraction to Avengers Campus? And if you've been enjoying the D23 coverage, and be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. Share this video with a friend, and with all that being said, I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.